So what you don't want to do when you're covering the Pelosi family is tell the truth. NBC News reporter Miguel Almaguer apparently didn't know that. He did some real journalism on the attack of Paul Pelosi, and he has since vanished from the air. What happened to him? Fox's Trace Gallagher may know. He joins us tonight with the story. Hey, Trace.
Hey,
Disappeared
Tucker, for the record, Miguel
from
Almaguer
air.
is based in Los Angeles, just like me. And if you watch NBC Nightly News, the Today Show, he was on all the time. Now he's been off the air for almost a month. He was suspended by NBC without explanation in early November. He's also been off social media except for posting a few vacation pictures. And so far, neither Almaguer, his agent, NBC, or anyone else has issued a statement on why he left, when he comes back, or if he comes back. It's a suspension being handled like witness protection. And here's the thing.
That's
we don't know exactly
a little
what
too
was
far
wrong with the report he filed on Paul Pelosi, because nobody will tell us. All we know for sure is that it goes against the common narrative.
We don't know what was wrong with the original report, other than the fact that apparently they said it did not meet whatever journalistic standards they ever had. The witness protection part, all right, that's a little commentary, Fox. You can tone it down a little bit. It's probably just a non-disclosure, a non-disparagement. Who knows? Who knows? We know that report. We talked about it, but just in case you forgot.
Specifically challenging whether Paul Pelosi was in danger when police arrived. Watch.
We saw
after a knock and announce, the front door was opened by Mr. Pelosi. The 82-year-old did not immediately declare an emergency or tried to leave his home.
They're going to say that's opinion from the reporter. That's not a fact. That's conjecture. But by the way, appreciate the fact that this made it to air, not in a live broadcast, not in like some independently produced video, like what I do. No. Highly edited, overlays, text, produced, presumably went through all layers of editorial oversight, and then made it to air. Didn't even get taken off before, like the CBS report in Ukraine, where they took it down and re-edited it just based on an advertisement or a promotional video alone. But listen.
But instead began walking several feet back into the foyer toward the assailant and away from police.
But the very same details have been reported by NBC's local affiliate in San Francisco. And local NBC sources tell Fox Digital they believe Miguel Almaguer and the affiliate had different sources that offered the very same information. Remember, Almaguer didn't just write a very controversial story and have it edited without the brass at NBC signing off on it. Doesn't work like that. Somebody approved the story, and likely several people approved it. And just as likely, several people have now signed off on saying nothing.
And by the way, Almaguer gone, like disappeared. Hold on a second. What was his name? Miguel Almaguer. Hold on a second. Let's just do this here. Miguel Almaguer. Where is he? This is from 4 days ago. He hasn't. No, as of November 15, Almaguer hasn't appeared on air. Yeah. Few and far in between tweets. What did you learn? What did you learn, Miguel? What did you learn? He's probably sitting there saying, "What the hell's going on? I did my job. You all approved it, but apparently didn't meet journalistic standards. Taken off air. No further explanation." And I had asked the same questions at the time. And by the way, nothing in that report has been contradicted by anything, and on the contrary, confirmed by the police report itself. Yeah, are we gonna have another entry into Urban Dictionary? Ermagerd, sudden disappearance for doing your job well. What time is it? 12:04. Good afternoon, everybody. Good morning, California. Good morning, Texas. Yeah, it's another day. It's another day of absolute madness. Like outright madness. If people are not on Twitter, I sort of envy that level of not being involved in. I say I don't get involved in sports. I don't like. I don't. I don't find the distraction value added. My distraction is Twitter. That's like, we go to Twitter, we see what's going on today. What big players are getting into trouble? And yesterday, if there's a World Cup of Twitter and there's a final match where there's overtime in a game that's like 4-4, so not a 0-0 boring game to watch, but a good game. Yesterday was the overtime on Twitter. And we'll get into this because I know that there's going to be a number of people who, I don't like the word follow, but who have subscribed to my daily digital newsletter because presumably they either like the way I think, or for the others, they don't like the way I think and they like trolling, like some of the people on Twitter who follow me only to insult. And not that I'm any better at that. You know, I had very few nice things to say to Brian Stetler on Twitter. But I know some people are going to disagree with some things that I have to say. That's going to be the nature of the beast. No one's going to agree with me all the time. Sometimes I don't even agree with me all the time. I have my view of Ye as a human and what he's going through, which, funny enough, doesn't undermine my position on what he's not what he's saying, but rather how people are reacting or how the social medias are reacting to what he's saying. But we'll get into it. We'll go over a lawsuit, a dismissal of a lawsuit and sanctions against Dershowitz and Kari Lake's counsel for a lawsuit filed prior to the midterms in which allegedly allegations were made that were not just unsubstantiated, but that were so frivolous, they ought to be sanctioned under whatever the rules of procedure are, and the attorneys are going to be ordered to pay legal fees once they put out their costs or something. We'll go over that very quickly. And then the standard stuff. Doctors who want to express opinions and tell people what to do on the interwebs and then block people for asking them questions. Okay. Standard disclaimers. I'm going to read a couple of super chats to get to them. Pasha Moyer in the house. Serious question. Do we know if Almaguer is still breathing? Apparently, he has posted sparse social media posts on vacation. I don't know. That's all we know. And I hate those types of jokes like the someone didn't do something to themselves, because I hate putting that juju out in the universe. But we don't know. Mr. Wonderful, how's it going? Salutations, Elviva. 4 a.m. in Terra Australis. No wonder I barely catch you live anymore. You have my support regardless. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's 4 o'clock, because that's 4 o'clock in the future. What does the future look like? One more. Okay, we got that one already. So 30% of all super chats goes to YouTube. If you don't like that, we are simultaneously streaming on Rumble. And now that I say it, I think I've realized that I forgot to put the link there. Are we good on Rumble? Let me just refresh here and make sure. Rumble has the equivalent of super chats if you want to support the channel. They take 20%. You can feel better supporting a good platform, and more goes to the creator. But financial support is not the only or even the best way to support a channel. Share. Like, share, snip, clip, and spread the word. I'm going to put the link to Rumble here. You can subscribe or follow us or be part of the community on Locals, vivabarneslaw.locals.com. But the best free way to support, be a member on Locals, or just snip, clip, share away and spread the word. Pin message. Okay. Now, you may have seen the warning. This video contains paid promotion. Because it does, people. Because when you make it in the world of the interwebs and you get sponsors, but not just a question of getting sponsors, because I've said no to more sponsors than I said yes to. But I've said yes to some because I like them and I work with them and I use them. EnviroCleanse air filtration system. Yes, people, it's $699 US. That's like $2,000 Canadian. No, it's not. It's a joke. Canadian is 132, so that's like 7 times 3, 210. So add 210 to that. That's like $920 Canadian. For anybody who knows that you need an air filtration system in your house, you could spend a lot of money on a crappy one, and you're just wasting money, good money, for crappy product. EnviroCleanse, it's got a big fat HEPA filter, which is one element of the filtration system. Then it's got a patented technology in the neutralizing mineral filter that neutralizes, what do they call them? Volatile organic compounds, odors, germs, bacteria. It's used by the Department of Defense. I double-checked this, spent a half an hour on the phone with the science team behind this. Used by the Department of Defense. There's a reason why the U.S. Navy chose to equip their ships with EnviroCleanse over other air purifiers to help stop COVID, flu, and colds from spreading aboard their ships. Used by the Department of Defense in over 300,000 schools in America. I would like to get it in all of the classrooms in Canada. And it's fantastic. Whisper quiet, very matrixy white box. It's good. Go to ekpure.com, as in EnviroCleansePure.com. ekpure.com, it'll bring you to the website. Promo code VIVA gets you 10% off the unit, a free air quality monitor. It is expensive, and there are financing options that I know of. I don't know how it works exactly, but there is 0% financing if you're eligible. If you need one, don't get a bad one. Get the best one there is out there. And thank you, EnviroCleanse, for having the courage, the audacity to sponsor a channel that promotes hinged, fringed views for the fringe minute. You know what I mean? Alrighty then. On that note, I use mine in the bathroom. They're good for like 1,000 square feet plus per unit. So if you put them in a bathroom, I mean, unless you have a massive bathroom, you pick the room, you pick the level of the house for the best way to aerate for as much as you work. Does it work on gas? Oh, does it work? I thought you meant it is not gas powered, but it does work on gas. Our paralyzed puggle, Pudge, who occasionally poops in her bed, as in every morning, or pees on the floor, and her pee, for whatever the reason, is extremely, extremely potent, odorous urine. It works. As does not wearing shoes in our house, because stepping in poo-poo, if you're going to do it barefoot. It's a lot easier to clean up. All right. What do we want to start with? Let me see what I have on the notes for the back burner. We're going to move over to Rumble sooner than later. What do we want to run with as the first story? Let's go with this. Can't ask questions. You get called an anti-vaxxer. I like seeing doctors' opinions, and I like asking doctors questions. I have yet to get the answer to this question. Dr. Tom Frieden. Let me see, we're seeing the same thing here. Global health leader and epidemiologist. So I am not one to poo-poo credentials. President and CEO of Resolve TSL. I don't know what that is. Former CDC Gov. Now I got some flags going off, having seen the way the CDC has become corrupted in real time. Now I think the old astronaut meme always has been. Director of New York City Health. Okay, now getting flags going off here. Anyway, he comes out and tweets something we've heard multiple times. Risk of myocarditis after receiving an mRNA vaccine. Oh, by the way, no legal advice, no medical advice, no election fortification advice, though we're going to touch on all three subjects. Risk of myocarditis after receiving an mRNA vaccine is rare in teens and young men. Among males ages 12 to 17, the risk of heart problem was 1.8 to 5.6 times higher after a COVID infection than after mRNA infection, according to CDC data. People, we train the mind here to think critically. We train the mind to know when we're being told things and when we're not being told things. So let's just read through that again. And chat, what's going to be the first flag here? Children, let's see what is going to be the first word that comes to mind here. Risk of myocarditis after an mRNA vaccine is rare. Rare is a subjective assessment. What are the odds? What are the stats? We have heard varying stats. 1 in 10,000 once upon a time. 1 in 5,000 if you listen to Dr. Kieran Moore. 1 in 5,000 per dose if you listen to a German study that came out subsequently. Am I going to see my response here? Probably not. So what is rare? What is rare? Like, what is rare? And that will allow us also to contextualize the next statement. So that's the first question. It's nice not being told anything in a tweet. Among males aged 12 to 17, among young men, let's see this, the risk of heart problems. By the way, notice now it went from myocarditis to heart problems at large. What does that mean? And why did we go from talking about the risk of myocarditis from the jab being rare, all of a sudden talking about heart problems? It's a curious shift in terminology, but whatever. Heart problems, whatever that means, was higher after COVID infection than the jab. What does that mean, by the way? If something was if one thing was more likely than another outcome, it means that both were outcomes nonetheless. So the question now that you have to ask is, if heart problems after an infection are higher than heart problems or myocarditis, if we're using it interchangeably, after the jab, it means that there are cases of people getting it after one or the other or both. All right, people. What's going to be the question now? If you get it after both, and as we now know, and this is not medical advice, this is not election fortification advice, this is nothing. I can pull up all the doctors say, if there's a risk of getting heart issues or myocarditis after both the jibby jab and an infection, and we know that the jibby jab does not prevent infection, are you not merely, in fact, compounding the potential risk in a demographic that is statistically at minimal risk to begin with? Here, so this is the question that, are we sharing this? Am I sharing this? No, I'm not sharing this. Hold on a second. I mean, this is not even basic science. This is just freaking common sense. What does rare mean? Fine. We have been told that myocarditis is 1 in 5,000 per dose. Also, the jab does not prevent contracting COVID. Are we not just compounding the risk of myocarditis, both from infection and mRNA jab? What they would have to be able to show in order to justify the recommendation of jibby jabbing people who are at minimal risk, uber minimal risk, I won't qualify it any more than that, uber minimal risk in the first place, they would have to show that if you get the jibby jab, that it will so reduce your chances of getting myocarditis from infection anyhow, because the jibby jab doesn't prevent infection, that it somehow warrants the additional risk of getting it in the first place, instead of just hoping and taking your chances with an infection to begin with. It would have to be so much more effective at reducing the risk of heart issues after a COVID infection to justify the recommendation. Has any doctor showed us that homework? And then I just have to show you my homework. This was Dr. Kieran Moore from Ontario. We know that the risk is, there is a risk, a very small risk, 1 in 5,000 that may get myocarditis, for example. You'd have to discuss the risk benefit for a young, healthy person. And then the other homework was, come on, the study in Germany. It's in Korrektur, die Mal dafür, Korrektur, die Malderate für schwerwiegende Reaktionen betrachtet laut, PEI German, O2 Meldungen pro 1,000 Impfdosen. Correction, according to PEI Germany, that was not Prince Edward Island, Germany. The report of serious reactions is serious, by the way, 0.2 per 1,000 vaccine doses. I'm no mathematician. 0.2 times 5 is 1. 1,000 times 5 is 5,000. The rate for serious reactions is 1 per 5,000 doses. So compound infection with the jibby jab and then compound the risk with each subsequent jibby jab booster. I'm no doctor, just a lawyer with half a functioning brain. That sounds like a lot of compounding risk factors for a demographic that is at virtually no risk to begin with. And to the extent that we know it doesn't prevent transmission, you don't even get to rely on the argument, well, you don't want to give it to grandma, do you? Mr. Wonderful, the only thing West will accomplish is to take votes from Trump. Those who are influenced by a sneaker salesman who foolishly married a Kardashian get what they deserve. Okay, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. I'm going to flag it, not flag it, start and come back to it later. And I noticed another super chat. It was right here. Peckerwood. We might hate what Ye said, but hate speech is still protected speech. He's still proving there is not free speech, no matter how harsh it is. You know what? Maybe it's time to get to Ye. Before we're 20 minutes in, 1,143 people. This is amazing. 1,143 on YouTube, and we're at nearly we're at 4,400 on Rumble. So let's do this here. Let's move over to Rumble now. Not because the discussion can't be had on Twitter, because I'm gonna put the video up afterwards anyhow. I put up Whitney Webb's full interview. I haven't published it yet because I didn't want it to overlap with this. I'm going to publish it after the stream. Ashley Rinsberg, who I interviewed yesterday, amazing. That'll be put up shortly thereafter. Phil Damaris is not going to make it today, or we didn't coordinate properly, so it'll happen next week. Phil Damaris, the Walrus Whisperer, the Walrus Whisperer. Let's just bring it over to Rumble anyhow. Just reading some chats here before I go. Barb, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk. There's a lot of people have a lot of theories, but you have to stick to the ones that have as much justification as possible, or as much evidentiary support. LOL. I like Trump, but he will be even more useless if he actually wins again. TPTB. To be totally TPTB proved they have control no matter who's elected figurehead. TPTB. Don't tell me what that is. The powers that be. Yes. Yes. Yes, people. Oh, I didn't see it in the chat. Okay, I promise you I didn't see it. Huh? Okay, no, hold on. I did not see it in the chat. I love that game. There used to be a game on the internet called Acrophobia, and it was a game where you would make acronyms with words, and the best one would get the votes of the. I don't know whatever happened to that website, but yeah, I got it. Okay, good. People, let's move over to Rumble. We're going to do it right now. Going to end. I've forgotten nothing here. One last shout out to ekpure.com. Thank you. If anybody needs a good filter, you know the one to get. Let us end it on YouTube and bring it over to the Rumbles, where we will party hardy until the morning